FX buried a Breaking Bad spin-off deal that would have changed everything, and the reason they killed it is something they never wanted you to know. Not a rumor, not a pitch that got turned away at the door. A development deal, signed documents, a writer already circling the project, and Giancarlo Esposito, Gus Fring himself, in active conversations. FX had the Breaking Bad universe in its hands in 2013, and then, without a single headline, it was gone. You were never supposed to hear this, because the reason FX lost this deal isn't that the project wasn't good enough or that the network walked away. The reason is buried in a contract clause written in 2007 when nobody thought Breaking Bad would amount to anything, and when you understand what that clause did, it changes everything you thought you knew about how this franchise got built. Go back to 2007. Vince Gilligan pitches Breaking Bad to FX first. The network passes. Too dark, too bleak, too much risk on a protagonist who opens the series dying of lung cancer. FX had its identity, The Shield, Nip Tuck, Rescue Me, and meth didn't fit the brand. AMC picks the show up instead. Over the next 6 years, Breaking Bad becomes the most acclaimed television drama in history. By the time the final season airs in 2013, it's pulling 14 million viewers per episode. And somewhere inside an FX conference room, executives are staring at what they let walk out the door and making a decision. They need back into this universe. The project they zeroed in on was Gustavo Fring. Not Albuquerque, not the drug business. Chile. The years before, the ones the show only ever alluded to. Here is what the trade press never fully reported. In early 2013, FX Networks, then operating under the Fox cable umbrella, entered into active development conversations with Sony Pictures Television, which holds the underlying rights to Breaking Bad and all its characters. The project under discussion was a limited series, 6 to 8 episodes. It would dramatize Fring's origins, his years inside the Pinochetera Chilean government, his move north, and the specific event that put him in the cartel's debt, hinted at in Better Call Saul but never fully shown on screen. Esposito was briefed. A writer with cartel drama credits was quietly approached. FX was prepared to commit north of $30 million to make the deal happen. This was not a speculative pitch. This was a negotiation that got close enough for lawyers to exchange paper. The deal was real. Then it disappeared. What nobody outside those rooms understood is that AMC's original 2007 agreement with Sony contained a right of first refusal clause on all derivative content. Standard boilerplate. The kind of language buried in Exhibit C of a television contract that nobody thinks to examine, because nobody expects the show it covers to become generational television. But Breaking Bad did become generational television. And that clause, drafted when the show was a long shot, suddenly had enormous leverage. AMC could block any third party from developing Breaking Bad universe content, not by matching FX's offer, not by greenlighting a competing version, simply by invoking the clause and sitting on it. Right of first refusal means exactly that, the right to say yes or no before anyone else gets a chance. AMC said neither. They just held the door shut. Remember that signed deal? Here's where it died. AMC didn't block FX because they had a better Gus Fring project already in development. They blocked it because they were scared. By late 2012, AMC was a network in crisis. The Walking Dead was fraying. Mad Men was ending. They had no clear successor franchise. The one universe they controlled, the Breaking Bad universe, was about to air its finale and go dark. So they weaponized the contract. They invoked the first refusal clause not to develop the Fring project themselves, but to freeze the IP. By time, Better Call Saul wasn't formally greenlit until February 2014, nearly a full year after AMC shut FX out. Saul was born, in part, out of the need to have something to announce, something to prove the Breaking Bad era wasn't finished. The Gus Fring limited series didn't die because it was wrong for television. It died because AMC needed a prop. Once Saul was in production, the FX project was redundant. The writer's room dissolved. Not a single script was ever written. Think about what that series would have been. A prestige limited series on FX, the network that later built American Crime Story, with a writing staff given 8 full hours to dramatize the most enigmatic origin story in modern television, not attached to the Saul timeline. Its own tone, its own political register, cartel thriller, government corruption, and a character study of a man who builds a perfect mask over a wound the audience already knows is there. That version of Gustavo Fring will never exist. The claws made sure of it. And here's what still doesn't have a clean answer. AMC invoked that same right of first refusal in at least one other case. A different network, a different beloved property. That deal left an even bigger hole in television history than this one. And that studio has been very, very quiet about it ever since.